Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Heaven's Secret 2 Season 2 Episode 8. The update dropped just a few hours ago and I'm so excited. I literally do not remember at all how the last episode ended. The only thing I do remember is that we finally had a beautiful moment with our baby Malbonte. He finally let loose, he finally let us in, and I did play dirty. I picked the romantic option between us and Astaroth, and we saw a small glimpse of jealousy inside of Malbonte, and I know that we are all living for scenes like this. We also got to see the Horsemen of Death, so I'm actually terrified of what it could mean, because from what I remember, they now have all the horns because of Miss Alina. So let's see what doom is gonna be brought upon us. The fifth seal is broken. The horsemen now focus more seriously on the order. Try me. Kill 1 to save 4, or do nothing and let death take everyone. Okay. Episode 8, The Fifth Seal. I'm scared. It was quiet at the table. If someone dared to speak, it was in a whisper, as if a loud voice could bring trouble. The meager food hardly roused my appetite. Ever since hunger's arrival, we had almost stopped eating. Our bodies gradually grew weak, our vision was no longer sharp, our reactions became dull, and we got tired faster. And this is actually, it's nice that they're pointing this out. If hunger is not around immortals, they still are affected by his powers. They don't immediately faint like when he's close to them, but they gradually grow weak. Damn, and we're the only ones immune. My hand trembled and I dropped some bread onto my clothes. I shook off the crumbs. Ooh, I don't know. I'm gonna go with composure. It's something I would wear in real life, so stop at this one. It's always hilarious when they make such a beautiful outfit and then such ugly hair. But, you know what? Nah, Majesty. Be the queen you're destined to be. Sorry. Stop at this one. Is there any bread left? You can have mine. Everyone was depressed. We were overcome by a feeling of helplessness and the inevitability of the end. Well, I mean, that's Miss Alina's fault. She was like, save my sister and have all the horns that are gonna contribute to the end of the world. This is on her. We had failed. I mean, that with the last horns was iconic. Like that moment where all the guys suddenly appeared and Plague suddenly had the horn. That scene was hilarious. Besides, I still think it's the fault of it's a falcon? Arrogant's falcon took the horn out of our hands and he flew directly into Plague. And that's why she got the last horn. So that's on him. Failed. Miss Alina was even more meek than usual. She didn't say anything, but it was all written on her face. Self-flagellation had become a goal for her since no one had punished her for what she'd done. I cannot with these people. I mean, I remember a comment underneath the last episode saying that I'm being too harsh on Miss Alina. Like, I get her point of view, but on the other side, I don't understand at the same time. Because Miss Alina knew that these horns are a contributing factor that could destroy the world. And she was willing to give these horns to the horsemen so that her sister could survive. From that point, like her wanting to save her sister, that's okay. Like, I can't hate on her for that. She has love in her heart. But she literally ignored the crucial factor. She gave the horns that can contribute to the fact that the world is gonna end, and every single being on it, including her sister, to people that want to destroy the world. What did she get out of that deal? When she gave Malbonte the horns so that he could give them to the horsemen in order to save her sister. Her sister is part of the earth that is gonna be destroyed as soon as every single seal is broken. Are you all for real? Like, what exactly did this woman accomplish by giving the horsemen the horns? She accomplished nothing. That was just stupidity. The only thing I can't hate about what she did was the fact that she had pure intentions. She wanted to save her sister, and she was willing to do everything in order to do that. That I can see is good. The other thing, she screwed up, I'm sorry. I stared at my half-empty plate, remembering yesterday's event. I considered my trembling fingers. Was there really any power in them? Oh, take us back. Take us back. What have you done to me? Right, we're the experiment. Aha! Hunger stepped back, turned to Satan and the others, and said in a voice that left no room for objections, "Leaving." Excuse you! Satan burst through the ceiling with greater force than when he'd arrived and quickly disappeared into the sky. Lucifer, Hunger, and Astaroth took off after him, leaving us confused. Now Malbonte's still here then. Oh no! Oh, my baby! Malbonte. Apparently, this man has so much love inside of him that he's willing to forgive anything at this point. I mean, he is my rude, but I'm playing dirty. I really am. I be playing because you all know I love it messy. But, well, I can. Only Malbonte hesitated before flying away. He's like, I don't want to leave her alone with him. I know what he's capable of because I feel it myself, and I don't want her to have to go through that. No, Malbonte. He looked me up and down thoughtfully, see, as if scanning my body, trying to find out what kind of power I suddenly had in me. An alien force, not his. Malbonte's saying that he's not okay with any of this. He's like, oh, she no longer has my power inside of her body. She has power from him now inside of her body. That's not okay. She's mine. You can't just put some power inside of her. It's like you're claiming her as yours. She's mine. I can't. Huh? Where's Eliza? He slowly turned to Aragon. Safe. I kept my word. Malbonte. And then he spread his wings and flew away. He actually left us there. Can you hear me? What? I raised my head. Immersed in my memories, I hadn't noticed Aragon's approach. Let's go. He headed for the door. Mimi, Dino, and Donnie gave me sympathetic glances. It's all your fault. I did my best. Aragon walked ahead. I hurried to catch up with him. Without turning around, he asked, So do you understand what Hunger did to you? Somewhat. He turned to face me. We froze opposite each other, alone outside the base. What did the horseman do to you? Nothing special. What do you mean? How do you think he did it? Probably by accident. When he showed me visions, he had nothing to do with it when he touched my head. I felt something, I don't know what, but it was strange. Aragon nodded with satisfaction. That was probably it. He did this on purpose. I was right. I mean, everyone can make us see visions. If we remember what Malbonte did in Heaven's Secret Season 3, he came to us in dreams, as in we thought they were dreams, but they were visions. Like, he made us see visions where we could interact with one another. So that's what happens here. Aragon suddenly lunged at me, so suddenly that my body, exhausted from hunger, didn't have time to react. Bitch. Pure energy burned the skin on my hands. I was thrown back, but I recovered and landed on my feet, leaving deep imprints beneath them. A tear rolled down my cheek from the pain, but I quickly wiped it away and took a defensive stance. Path of composure. It didn't work. He'd attacked me, hoping that my power would emerge again, but that didn't happen. Let's do it again.
Yeah, sure.
Were you going to ask my permission?
No.
So why are you asking? He threw a ball of energy at me again. I didn't fight back. I didn't try to dodge. I took every blow trying to concentrate on absorbing the attack. Yeah, we can.
That one's when I get angry. Protect yourself.
I have the feeling that he's the only one capable to make it emerge. Us on our own, we don't know how to use that power correctly. And as soon as hunger is around, it's like he is purposefully making the power that he planted inside of us emerge. Like he can actually call upon that power inside of us. And that's when it comes out. But I was calm. There was no anger in me. There was nothing. I spat out blood and repeated. Again. The fight lasted a long time. I ended up falling to my knees. Sweat dripped down my forehead, and not a single inch of the skin on my body had been spared. Aragon hesitated as if he didn't dare to finish me off, but then another ball lit up. I closed my eyes. No, there was no pain. I heard Aragon's footsteps. He helped me up.
How did you do it?
I opened my eyes but could barely focus on his face. I thought I was draining energy like hunger, but I suppressed it.
It looks like the horseman didn't give up some of his power.
It's more like he modified it. So he's not weakened?
No, you're an empty vessel and took some of Malbonte's power. No hunger has revealed the potential that you're able to use deprived of any power. You suppress energy just like him, but you don't take it for yourself, not even temporarily. Does this mean I can weaken others like he can? Perhaps this ability has even more potential, but you'll need to train.
I'm ready. I coughed. Blood ran from the corners of my lips. Bitch, you can't do shit no more. Aragon helped me stay on my feet. I was partially laying on his outstretched arms.
Not now, you need to recover. Take her to the infirmary. I'll find some food for her.
Mom had been standing behind us the entire time, watching Aragon destroy me. Let's just drop it for now. I'm waiting to see some kind of reveal that she can actually change, even though I doubt it's possible. She looked calm, but my ability to endure all that brought a bit of tension and delight to her eyes.
When was the last time you ate?
Today.
And before that?
A week ago.
I'll give you a double ration.
No, what about the others? They should eat too. I was feigning. They're like, we need to train you harder than the others, so the others will have to pass. I was running a fever as Revelius applied the healing ointment. The funny thing was, he wasn't doing it to cure me. They wanted me to come to my senses quickly and expose my body to attacks again until I learned to defend myself. It felt like I was starting all over again. And the same question kept ringing in my head. Why would hunger want this? Why? I felt abandoned and alone. I wanted to know that nearby there was someone I could lean my head against and allow myself to relax with. Someone who would be my safe haven. Oh, are you ready to decide whether to give your heart to someone or remain alone? The choice is yours. A face popped into my mind. Asteroid, someone else? Oh, I can do someone else. Oh my god. No. This is Malbonte, people. This is over. It's over with the playing. It's Malbonte. A face popped into my mind. Malbonte. His eyes, his voice, the warmth of his body. He knew about my inner doubts. He knew about my fear of getting so close that it would hurt later if he became not only my executioner, but also the executioner of the world I held so dear. But Malbonte never doubted. And since I wanted to be with him, I needed to trust him and open up to him. You only want to be with Malbonte. It's decided, bitches. We will see each other here again. After Heaven's Secret 2 is done, we will see what happens with the other routes. I'm gonna do a questioning on my YouTube channel where you all will be capable to vote which one you want me to go for next. This time it's Malbonte. Then you can choose. I wanted to see him right away, to look into his eyes so I could be sure he'd do as he promised. That he'd only kill those he had to kill and save everyone else. But he was infinitely far away from me. However, I knew that we'd meet soon, and when the time came, I wouldn't doubt him anymore. Revelius noticed I had opened my eyes and became to the bedside.
It's great that you've come to your senses. Would you test one of my medicines? I jumped out of bed. No, thank you. I'd love to, but I have to run. But you just woke up.
That was the last thing I heard as I ran away from him. We said bye-bye. We have other things to worry about. Several days of anxious waiting passed. The scouts became more careful, and their expeditions became shorter. We hid away in our cocoon, afraid of taking a wrong step, and ended up accomplishing nothing. Winchester caught me wandering the hallways like a ghost with no understanding of where I was going. My body was covered with abrasions and burns after yet another training session where I practiced suppressing energy. But that wasn't enough. I felt I could do so much more.
Where are you going? Do you have a moment?
Yes?
Rebecca and I are going to have dinner. Would you like to join us?
You want me to be the third Rio? Is he suggesting some sort of family meal? Me. So I guessed correctly. You know what? Not doing it for our mother, but I'm doing it for him. Agree. Wouldn't you like to be alone?
You know, we're like family, right? I say like because I wouldn't dare insert myself into yours.
I smiled, looking into the demon's tired eyes. You'd make a great father, Winchester. A smile softened his face and made him look younger. He had never looked like an angel, but at that moment I might have mistaken him for one, if not for the wings.
It's nice to hear that from someone who would make a great daughter to me.
Oh, Winchester is my dad. He claimed us as his daughter. We laughed quietly from the awkwardness of the moment at his affectionate, frank words. Winchester touched my shoulder and said, nodding toward the office,
Let's go. Rebecca will be glad to see you.
I could have argued, but silently followed him. Yeah, you know what? Let's just not say anything. Creased maps had been tossed in the corner as if the battle was over. There was no longer a need for tactical planning. Several sprucely laden plates and half a dozen stubby candles were arranged on the table. Mom was adjusting the candles, trying to create as much light as possible. She pulled back sharply as if we had caught her doing something terribly awkward. I didn't know you were coming. Her tone was disgruntled, but her expression was one of fluttered delight. I can leave if you want. We can leave. We don't need to stay, girl. No. What? She cleared her throat and repeated coldly as if giving an order.
No, have a seat.
We sat down at the table. Winchester pushed one of those plates toward me. I'm not hungry, thanks.
You spend a lot of energy training with Aragon. Your energy will weaken if you don't eat. And then you won't be able to develop your abilities.
I put a piece of meat in my mouth, but I had no appetite. Do you often eat here? Mom and Winchester looked at each other. My question seemed to confuse them.
From time to time, there are too many mortals in the dining room, and we want at least occasionally to be alone.
Mom hit him under the table, which only made Winchester smile. I'm glad you've become close. I'm still not sure if I'm happy, because Winchester deserves so much more. Let's see. Mom cleared her throat as if I'd said something silly and she wanted me to stop talking.
Someone would be great if you could join us for a meal now and then. I don't think I'd be given a second chance, and...
He fell silent when he realized he'd started a conversation that was too candid, but then he continued gathering his resolve.
But I'm lucky and I went after the thing I didn't have the courage to go for before I died.
And what is that?
A rose.
It surprised me, the flower with its thorns. It was such a human notion. Mom must have told him about it. Was he reminding her? She was silent, carefully studying the contents of her half-empty plate. I know why he said rose. Because he's like, she's an angel on the outside, but as soon as you get too close to her, she's stinging you. That's why he said a rose. And it's a perfect description for her. She looked angry, but for some reason anger suited her. Or maybe she seemed especially beautiful to me because Winchester was looking at her in a good-natured, teasing way that was also filled with admiration.
Just remember to wash your fingers when reaching for a rose.
Oh, see? Mom's eyes burned as she pierced Winchester with her gaze.
Otherwise you might miss the thorns.
See?
Why should I worry about its thorns if I'm already holding the rose?
He looked genuinely surprised. Mom first flushed with indignation, then quietly laughed.
They're going to teach my daughter to be overconfident.
I couldn't help but smile at the way they were talking. Vincenzo seemed like an unbreakable, unwavering support. A support that made me feel better, stronger, and happier. Period. During battle, Mother seemed to shed her human mask like a snake shedding its skin and bristle with thorns. But there were moments when her soft nature buried beneath the scars and ambition came through. Sitting with them at a table that was too tight and uncomfortable to eat at, I realized how much I missed family. I missed simple human communication. If we ignored the surroundings and recent events and paid no attention to the wings on our backs, it would have looked like we were having a family dinner like mere mortals. And I wouldn't want to go to work or study tomorrow, but damn it, we'd be so happy.
What's wrong, Simona?
Her voice sounded unusually soft. My thoughts were probably written all over my face. Nothing. Everything's fine. I love the outfit I gave her. I just wanted to say that I'd love to have dinner with you.
Thank you.
Vincenzo. Mom took an uneven breath and allowed herself to smile for the first time.
Ask the village to prepare healing ointments to help you regenerate faster.
Vincenzo passed me a plate so I couldn't avoid eating and began to share a story.
Have you heard about the arena in hell? A lot of interesting things have happened there.
Vincenzo went on and on, stopping only when Mom and I quietly chuckled at his jokes. Time flew by. When I had to say goodbye and go to my room, I wanted to ask to sleep in my mom's bed like a little girl. But instead, I hugged each of them tightly and wishing them a good night left. Well, at least we're starting to have some family. That's something new. Jesus Christ. It opened, bitches. It opened. Where's my soulmate Malbonte? I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling, pale in the moonlight. For several seconds, I sleepily wondered what woke me up. The candle trembled on its stand, shaking until it fell off the bedside table. Damn, that means that there is an earthquake? The metal saucer rolled under the bed with a clatter. The woman in the neighboring bed sat up, looking around in fear. I touched the floor and felt sharp shock waves, then looked out the window. Several of the small islands that circled Earth like satellites got destroyed. So it was an earthquake. My roommates rushed outside. I lingered at the window, scanning the sky for the horsemen or their army, but there was no one. The walls began to tremble again, more strongly. I backed away from the window and ran out of the room. I mean, maybe it's because the seals keep on being opened. I think that's what the meaning was of the book. As soon as all the seals are open, it's the end of the world. So maybe that's what's happening right now. Because it's only 2 seals left, the world is starting to destroy itself. All the remaining members of the order were gathered outside watching in horror. Fear drove me forward, and I ran toward them. Away from the building that was coming apart at the seams, the ground shook. There had never been an earthquake in heaven. The 5th seal has been opened. Yes, Aragon nodded. They'd figured this out without me.
So what should we do now?
Adi clenched and unclenched his fists, listening to the rumbling of the collapsing building.
I saw this in my dreams. But I didn't understand. Listen to me.
Aragon's voice thundered so loudly that it carried over the entire island.
Some of you will go to another base. It should be safe there. Yor will guide you.
Aragon looked around at those crowded around him.
And we will fly down to Earth. Why are we splitting up? Why leave?
As soon as Adi asked, the island began to shake more violently because we're not safe here anymore. The ground fractured and a crack opened up. The Amoros flew up, but not too far. They kept looking down as if hoping the crack would disappear. I wanted to fly up after them. I spread my wings, but I couldn't get off the ground. Everything shook as more and more cracks appeared. They were wide enough to trap my foot, but too narrow to free it easily. Damn! Strike the ground, twist your foot and jerk it out. Call for help. Twist your foot? I heard a crunch and felt a sharp pain, but I tried to ignore it as I carefully pulled my foot free. Then I took off and reset my ankle with a sharp movement. Sweat broke out on my forehead. Mimi, Dino, and the others flew closer, concerned.
I waved my hand and nodded, assuring them that I was fine. Whatever happened, my immortal body would regenerate fully, even if I did something wrong. The island shook for the last time so hard that the trees fell with a crash. There was an enormous roar that seemed to come from everywhere and sounded like the island's dying groan. And then, everything is gone. I cannot. Who is doing the backgrounds on this story? The crowd of immortals flew as far away as they could. Gloomy silence accompanied the collapse of our home, the only place where we felt safe. No one gasped or screamed. Everyone looked on in horror as heavenly weightlessness suspended the debris and scattered them in every direction. The roar of destruction was still ringing in my ears, drowning out Arrogant's orders. But then he shouted louder and everyone turned to him.
It's too dangerous here. Fly!
Arrogant sent most of the orders, some were safe. The others had to fly with him to Earth. But why there? Wouldn't it be better to stay amid the rubble than go down to those who feared us and wanted us dead? I looked at the floating remnants of the Order's main headquarters, trying to form a memory of what had likely been the last place where peace was possible. Dead. The mortal world. We flew to a huge mansion where the life of the rich had once been in full swing. Children had frolicked on the lawn, and servants had walked with trays brimming with champagne glasses. But now it was empty. The mansion looked abandoned. Where are we? This is one of our bases. The doors opened and a man ran out to us. He stumbled several times, nearly falling. When he got close enough, he took a few steps back, as if he hadn't expected to see so many immortals.
What happened? Was there an earthquake here? Yes, the outbuilding collapsed, but the house survived.
The mortal pointed to a heap of damaged boards in the distance.
This is only the beginning. Keep your head down in the basement.
Arrogant walked past the man, his cloak fluttering behind him. The raven jumped from his shoulder and flew ahead. It looked like they had been here more than once. The mortal looked at us, fearfully bowed, and hurried after Arrogant. What the hell?
You read my mind, sister.
Let's go! Mimi slapped Addie on the shoulder and followed them. To my surprise, instead of going into the house, we walked around it into the backyard. There, right in the middle of the lawn, was an open hatch. Arrogant descended, and the mortal hesitated, tripping over his own tongue.
Please, after you. Don't be afraid. I mean, yes.
He fell silent when he saw the grins on Mimi's and Addie's faces. We're not afraid, human. Mimi went down first. I can't. The ceilings were low, but the basement extended far to the sides, resembling an underground apartment. There were CDs with games and torn half-empty boxes of supplies lying everywhere. The mortal kept tripping over the clutter, but instead of picking it up, he smiled wearily and kicked it aside to make way for us. Once we caught up, Arrogant turned to us and immediately said,
The mortal's name is Peter.
Peter raised a trembling hand.
Hi. He generously gave us the space. We're here. A land is special. That's what my father said. Here, strength is restored and time seems to freeze and...
Peter spoke quickly with a slight stutter, not because of any disorder, but rather because his tongue couldn't keep up with his thoughts. Arrogant interrupted him.
Somewhere not far from here, there is a passage leading to the catacombs of hell.
Peter choked and trembled.
Mortals cannot see it or pass through it, but this fact somewhat changes the energy of this place. It will be easier for us to handle a fight here. It will be easy to recover, especially for the demons. And I'll fight. Are we going to fight?
Arrogant exchanged glances with my mother, and then she took the floor.
The battle's inevitable. Whether it will be here or somewhere else is a different question. And how are we going to fight them? Do we even stand the slightest chance? And if not, what then?
Dana's voice was as hard as stone.
Will you join the horsemen?
Of course not, Addie.
Then what difference does it make whether we have a chance? We will fight. We need to come up with a plan.
Revelius had come with us, but as soon as we entered the basement, he disappeared somewhere. He knew the place. It wouldn't have surprised me if a separate laboratory had been prepared for him. We began to consider escape routes, how to defend ourselves, and how to get stones and amulets, but it scared me that none of the plans included attacking. We would only retreat and defend ourselves, hide and run. And yet, I didn't dare to suggest attacking first, or giving them false hope that some magical weapon might still be capable of destroying all of our alien enemies with one blow. Peter was silent, wincing from time to time at particularly frightening words associated with the horseman. Behind him sat a computer covered in dust. CDs were scattered all around. "Do you like to play video games?" He flinched yet again, realizing that I was addressing him.
Oh yes, I loved them. I could play for days. I'm the best at strategy games. Was the best.
"Do you think someone managed to dethrone you?" It wasn't a funny joke. Who cared about games now? What should I ask him? "How did the immortals find you?" He glanced quickly at Eric and nervously fidgeted with his sleeves, hiding his fingers in them.
"One day a monster appeared here, a demon that is. He almost killed me. Then one of your, well...
"A member of the Order?"
"Yeah, the residents and all that, they saved me. And then this woman arrived."
I turned around. He was pointing at my mother.
"She said that as payment for my life, I should give you this place."
I was barely able to keep my lips from curling with disgust. Mom, as usual, had her own methods. "Got it. How did you manage to survive?" His eyes widened. He chuckled, shrugging.
"I always believed in the end of the world and the existence of beings like you."
He suddenly shut his mouth with a click, as if simply separating us like this might somehow offend us.
"I've lived here since I was a kid. This is a family estate. I lived here with my grandmother, my father, never mind. So as a child I saw demons. They scared me. One even wanted to make a deal with me, but no one believed me. They thought I was making things up."
He paused only to take a breath and continued.
"But now I understand that it was all true. I wasn't crazy. It's even more interesting than video games."
"And more dangerous." He nodded, hunching over slightly and tilting his head to one side.
"I set up this bunker, filled it with everything I needed, and when the first signs of the end of the world began to appear, I came down and spent most of my time here. And when I got tired of it, I went out for a walk. That's when the demon grabbed me."
He shuddered, remembering. "What is happening to the mortal world now?"
"I don't know exactly, but when the news was still broadcasting, everything looked bleak. Your gods turned humankind into leapers and piles of ash and bone."
He seemed to be quoting the reporter's words. There was something fatalistic about them.
"And now there is no news, but there aren't any cities either. There is nothing left."
What should I ask him? Be silent. We fell silent, and then Peter very quietly suggested,
"Would you like me to show you what's left of our world?"
I wanted to tell him it was once my world too, but I swallowed the bitterness and only answered, "Show me." My interest surprised him, and that emotion seemed almost as bright as a smile.
"Then let's go."
He led me back through the corridors and up the stairs leading to the surface. I'm scared. What is left of our world? The air was fresh outside compared to the musty, unnatural smell of the basement. I closed my eyes, allowing the wind to blow away the fatigue and anxiety.
"For you to see, you will need to go into the house."
"Well, lead the way." I wanted to look around inside, but Peter went up the stairs so quickly that I barely caught a glimpse of all the paintings on the walls. The floorboards creaked under our weight. My fingers slid lightly over the wooden handrails. A thought flashed through my tortured mind several times. Peter could be leading me into a trap, intending to shoot me with bullets filled with Yog-Sotho's poison. But I put that thought aside. Even if he tried, I knew how dangerous humans could be, and I was ready. Peter led me to a balcony. Everything around us looked abandoned. The furniture was covered with white sheets, and the windows were streaked from dozens of rain showers. But as I stood in front of the balcony doors, I felt, rather than coming to any logical conclusion, that this was the only place Peter visited besides the basement.
"Ready?"
He made an incomprehensible sound caused by his fear of me and nerves. It seemed that he couldn't get used to the idea of talking to someone who had wings on their back. "Open it already."
Peter opened the doors and I stepped forward, drawn in by the horrifying sight that greeted my eyes. Oh my god, are we seeing the fire? The house was on a hill, so it had an almost perfect view of the entire ravaged city. A trampled, destroyed civilization in all its glory. One didn't have to be in the thick of it to understand the magnitude of the disaster. On the contrary, only from afar could the whole picture be seen, and that picture was terrifying. I trembled with the realization of what the horsemen had done. With the realization that the Mother of Life first and foremost hated mere mortals. Looking at the sprawling city, it became clear that their primary objective was the destruction of humans after all. No matter how cruel the horsemen were, heaven was not nearly as devastated as the human world. What if the Mother of Life only wanted to destroy humans? What then? Would the immortals agree to that, or try to protect the humans? What would I do? This world no longer held anyone dear to me. Who should I fight for? I closed my eyes.
Is it the same up there?
It was difficult to admit it, but I didn't want to lie. No, it's not.
Probably because you're stronger.
Maybe. The Mother of Life strove for an ideal. The immortals were weaker than the gods, but they had enough stamina, composure, and cruelty to snatch victory from death itself. See if I was dead. The Mother of Life would think several times before destroying the last traces of her first sons. Two figures flickered past in front of the house. It was Arrogant with Winchester. Something's wrong. Let's go. I grabbed Peter's hand and pulled him toward the stairs. At the moment, I was angrier than ever that humans don't have wings. What's going on? I ran up to Winchester and Arrogant, looking in the same direction, but I didn't see anything.
Rebecca, is everything ready?
Yes, I'll call Revelius.
What's going on?
Winchester turned to Peter and shouted so harshly that it sounded like a threat.
Go to the basement. You don't belong here.
Peter began to back away, but tripped and remained lying on the grass looking at the sky with horror. I just glanced at him, but instantly forgot about the mortal's existence. Looking closely, one could pick out several small dots among the clouds, so seemingly harmless, and only we knew what power lurked in those blots. And then Blake's laughter rumbled in the sky. Her figure approached with increasing speed. Bitch! Peter screamed, and his scream lasted until Blake snapped her fingers. I flinched when his blood splattered my nightgown. Funny, I've been wearing underwear this whole time. That scattered thought was the last thing to occur to me before Arrogant shouted for us to take cover. Today everything would be decided. Jesus Christ. Okay, they did not have to be like this. This was literally the preparation episode of the end. The only important decision that we had to do was to decide which one we want to be with. My best friend was like out there being worried. She's like, don't you dare cheat on Malbonte like he's our boo. Like, don't you dare. I have to be worried that you're gonna choose someone else, and I'm like, oh, don't worry. Malbonte is the first version for me, like, he my soulmate. So she doesn't have to worry about anything anymore. You are my testimonies. I picked Malbonte. Next episode is gonna be the biggest showdown. And let's hope that no one we love is gonna die, because I can't handle that. I lost so many people in Heaven's Secret. I can deal with Heaven's Secret too. Also killing people I love. So I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best. And I will see you in another video. Bye.